Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a little bit of a look at that Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. Because what's gone on was that, well, we've seen it go up for sale on the Pokémon Center UK. And this has done a couple of things pretty nicely. This has given us a way better look at the content of the Ultra Premium Collection, which is lovely. And it's meant we've had a bit of a look at, in terms of stock, and in terms of what's going on. And it's better news than I think a lot of you guys are probably expecting. So it did go up on the Pokémon Center UK last week, and it did sell out pretty quickly, right? Let's not pretend it didn't. But it lasted a little bit longer than we might have expected, and although I missed it personally, which is very sad, I didn't want to miss it, I know a lot of people that got in. And if you compare that to something like the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection, this seems different. Like, when the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection went up on the Pokémon Center UK, it went redonkulously quickly. And all I was seeing over on Twitter was, oh, I missed out, oh, I missed out, oh, I missed out, oh, I missed out, oh, I missed out. Everyone getting super angry that they'd missed out. Whereas here, there were certainly people like myself who missed out, and that's a little bit sad. If anyone was wondering how I missed out, I was sorting tea for my kids. Simple as that. It dropped right about on tea time. Sorry. But I saw an awful lot of people who did get in, who did get it, and that marks a big difference from before. So we'll talk more about that in a moment, but first let's have a look at the actual product, because like I say, we've got a better look here. We've had a blurry look at the contents for a while, but now we've got the official description, we've got a much better look, things are looking cooler. So the official description reads like this. Celebrate the Sword and Shield series and the era of Pokémon V, Pokémon V Max, and Pokémon V Star. Bit sad for Pokémon V Union, honestly. With a hotshot who knows how to put all that power to good use. Charizard turns up the heat as a trio of promo cards with an edged foil treatment, and its Gigantamax form shows off blazing style on a playmat, metal coin, and set of card sleeves. Metal dice and condition markers round out this ultimate set of gameplay accessories. And as you open the huge sack of booster packs inside this box, take a journey through the Sword and Shield series with an original booklet full of images and stats. Now, the one that really interests me here is it refers to it as a player's guide to the entire Sword and Shield series. It says entire Sword and Shield series. And we've had a look at the book, it's blue and it's got Charizard on. But what's really interesting me here is, do they mean that? Like, how much do they mean that? Because this is coming out on October the 28th, and as of the release on October the 28th, the most recent set to have actually dropped from the Sword and Shield series will have been Lost Origin, because that set's out now. We will not yet have seen the release of Silver Tempest. So does this mean that they're going to have a full gallery of Silver Tempest images in this book before the release of Silver Tempest? For anyone wondering, Silver Tempest is out exactly 2 weeks later on the 11th of November. So pre-releases should be starting around about that weekend. So that's not really particularly unreasonable, given that, well, you know what? There's going to be pre-releases. And in pre-release, in the build and battle kits, you get a little booklet. It's a very, very small, it's more a leaflet really, but it gives you a full set list, so maybe it is going to have Silver Tempest in as well. But do remember, we've got this extra set coming out, presumably in January, our equivalent of Japan's V-Star Universe. Are they going to give us that in here as well? My answer is almost certainly not. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to give us that whole set, 2.5 months before, almost 3 months before release. They're not going to do it. So they might, I don't know if they're going to do the mini sets in as well. They might leave out things like Celebrations, which would be a little bit sad. Maybe they don't count that as a Sword and Shield set because it's an extra set. And that's what I'm assuming is basically going on here, is that they're just going to go, right, you're getting Sword and Shield 1, the Sword and Shield base set, all the way through to Sword and Shield 12, Silver Tempest, but you're not actually getting everything else. That's a little bit sad. But, we've seen that, and that's quite lovely. Now, in terms of booster packs, remember, you are getting 16 booster packs, and And look, you cannot rely, let's be clear, you cannot rely on the image that's been shown on the Pokemon Center online in terms of booster packs, because these are not guaranteed or 100% accurate, etc. But you'll notice there from the images, yes, it goes up to Lost Origin. Yes, it includes some older packs like Darkness Ablaze. No, it does not include Silver Tempest. So, what I really wanted with 16 packs, what would have been absolutely amazing, is one pack of each of the 12 Sword and Shield sets, plus then 4 extra you can take from anywhere. I don't really care. That's not what's happening here, unfortunately. There is no Silver Tempest in there. And again, this is subject to change. This could be different when the product releases. We cannot 100% rely on the product images, but generally speaking, these tend to be pretty reliable. And actually, it's weird, because if we have a look at the other stock image, you can see Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Brilliant Stars. They're not showing you Lost Origin there. But then again, that's kind of understandable, given that that product image was out and about before Lost Origin was really out there. So there's going to be a mix of sets. It's going to include Lost Origin. It's not going to include Silver Tempest. Feel free to be upset about this if you so wish, because honestly, I am a tiny, tiny bit. It's not terribly important in the grand scheme of things, but it just would have been really cool to get one pack of every set. I mean, there was a Japanese set which came around a little while ago. I've mentioned this a bunch. It was basically a VMAX pack, where you got one of 4 VMAXs. There were 2 new, Cramorant and Delmise, and then there were 2 reprints, Morpeko and Cinderace, though they were alternate art, and the deal was really simple. The new ones were worth loads, the reprints were worth, like, nothing. So, you really, really wanted the new ones, but that did actually have, at the point that came out, Japan had 8 main or mini sets in the Sword and Shield era, and you did get exactly 1 pack of each. And that was an extremely cool product. So that was rather nice. And then, of course, we've got a better look at the accessories here. So we've got a nice clear look at the sleeves, the mat, the coin, the condition markers, the dice. It's all rather lovely. Once again, a reminder that the V-Star market is acrylic. And I'm not entirely sure why. This is a $120 box. It is Ultra Premium by name and Ultra Premium by nature. And all the other accessories are metal. Why is this acrylic? And there was a point when I was going, right, you know what? They've not made metal V-Star markers. Fine, I get that. But remember that those boxes they sold at Worlds with the counters did have metal V-Star markers in. And they would be exactly the same as the ones in this box. So that's no longer a good answer. When metal V-Star markers didn't exist, I was absolutely fine with this product not having metal V-Star markers. But metal V-Star markers now do exist. So, I don't really know what the deal is here. Why can't we have metal V-Star markers? I've said it before, I may well say it again. This is just a little bit confusing to me. So that's everything that's in the box. Obviously, we've got the free promos. We've seen the promos quite a bit at this stage. They are absolutely stunning. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this video talking about the promos, just because we've talked about them before. We don't need another video going over these promos. Obviously, this is the first V-Star alternate art we've seen, although we are expecting a bunch more in V-Star Universe and its English equivalent. And we've got the lovely Kato artwork on the Pokemon V, which is, I mean, the way I would phrase it personally is beyond stunning. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is amongst my favorite artwork we've seen in the Sword and Shield era. I think it is absolutely just redonk. I think it's brilliant. I absolutely love it. And I hope they let Kato do more of this, quite frankly. Because this kind of art is just amazing. So, yeah. If we could have more of this, that would be rather lovely. Now, in terms of stock, things are getting a little bit interesting. Obviously, it went up for sale on the Pokemon Center and sold out pretty quickly. But it did last a little bit longer than these kind of things generally tend to do, which is a very good sign. And we know that there is a second wave of these coming. I told you about that before. Obviously, the pre-orders going up at the moment are the first wave. which means there is an absolutely excellent chance that there will be more opportunities in the future for people like myself who have missed out to try and order these, which is clearly a very good thing as well. This is all very positive. I have also heard a rumour, and let's be clear, I must be very, very clear about this. It is a rumour, but I've heard it from a few places, so I'm kind of starting to believe it. I have heard a rumour that there is going to be greater allocation in local game stores for these than there is in online stores. I have heard that online sellers are getting a very low allocation, which is a little bit sad. Obviously not the Pokemon Center itself, that's getting a great allocation. They make it. But I have heard that local game stores are getting a greater allocation. Now, I've given you this warning before in multiple videos, but let me tell you again. If you want to have a head start, an advantage, call it what you will, when these awkward products get released, make friends with your local game store. Go to your local game store and buy stuff, even though you could get it a couple quid cheaper online. Obviously, I know not everyone has a great local game store, not everyone can afford to pay a couple quid extra at a local game store. I understand all of this. Obviously, if that's where you are, that's fine. I'm just talking kind of generally. I know people are in different positions. That's obviously fine. But if you are in a position to do so, then going to your local game store when you can is great. Because then when they have low allocation stuff, they're going to remember that you're a Pokemon fan that comes in and uses their shop, and they are going to try and hook you up if they're able to do so. Making friends with your local game store, supporting them, it's firstly important because they are the center of the competitive game. Without local game stores, the competitive game does not do as well. And also, they will look after you. Now, I don't know how the stock is going to be. I've just heard it's going to be better. But you better believe I'm going to be dropping a little message to my local game store, Mad for Miniatures, going, hey, what's your stock looking like? Do you have one? And here's the thing. Quite regularly, I will go to Mad for Miniatures, and I will buy stuff there, even if I can find it a little bit cheaper online, because I love having a really good local game store. And it's important for me to try and support them. So that's the good look at the content of it. That's what we know. Like I say, it has gone up on the Pokemon Center. It has left on the Pokemon Center. But it lasted longer than normal. And there is a second wave already confirmed. And I've heard that local game stores are having a higher allocation. And I still think this is never going to be a product you can just walk in and buy on the shelves. It's not going to be, stocked up in Walmart 17 deep. But it's an Ultra Premium Collection that costs $120. That is not the goal of the product. I absolutely do think that this is not going to be as difficult to get as previous Ultra Premium Collections. And that alone has got to be a very good thing indeed. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Have you managed to find one of these? Have you kept an eye out? Have you got any leads? What do you think? Do you even want one of these? Let me know in the comment section. Get us! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio. That's where you can support the channel. You can get weekly bonus pods or answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord and chat Pokemon with us. And of course, you can get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Taylor Ward, who has been a supporter of ours. I think one of our newer supporters, actually. So please don't tell me I've got that wrong. So thank you very much for the support and for being a lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.